With the above the Rebbe to learn Hilchos Beis Abchira in the Meibein HaMitzorim, we have the honor today to have a Choshev German von the Choshev Melamdim in unserer Kehile. Harav HaChosid, Harav Simcha Shneyer is going to give us some insight into the Hilchos Beis Abchira, building the Beis HaMikdash. Also, the Eroy of the Rebbe should give Tzedakah B'tzibur. I just wanted to mention that there was a Eroy 40 years ago when they printed the Sefer Hilchos Beis Abchira L'Rav Chidush U'Biyurim. The Rebbe in the Akdome, the Rebbe said to add on that Erev Rosh Chodesh, which is tonight and tomorrow, there's a special erod that the Rebbe wrote that we should be, what's it right here? Haisif b'miyuchad b'teiro filo u'tzdoko v'hatzedoko heitzoes beis seudes u'matev shel gimel seudes. So everybody has to, tomorrow, you have to give tzedakah at least for 2 seudes or 3 seudes. This is a Rebbe from the Rebbe 40 years ago. Harav Simcha, bevakasha.
Right. Shakoyach. So, I was asked to speak Hilchos Beis Abchira, so I wasn't sure what Indian to talk about. Then I realized there's a very there's a primary topic to discuss, which is that on Monday, today Monday, Chavches Tmuz, this kvius it's not the first time that we're having this kvius, and the Rebbe, Parshas Matis Maseh Membeis, and Parshas Dvarim Membeis, same kvius as this year. The Rebbe spoke Hilchos Beis Abchira every Farbrengen in 3 weeks from when the Ira started. The Rebbe Farbrengen never spoke about topics in Hilchos Beis Abchira. So there's no better topic than what was discussed there. So in those 2 Farbrengens, there's one topic that continues through both Farbrengens. There's a few. The Rebbe touched on a lot of topics. So we're going to try as much as we can. We have a lot of time, but I'm not going to take all the time. And if something's not clear, if I forget something, if we don't finish everything, just know where to check and you have it all. You can see Barichas, the whole thing, B'Shleimusay. Okay, so it goes as follows. We're going to talk about 4 stuff. Number 1, something that I actually spoke about in Hilchos Beis Abchira 2 years ago, I think, which is why is it called Hilchos Beis Abchira when you look at it right after, what's Hilchos Beis Abchira? First mitzvah, live in its Beis HaMikdash. It's called Hilchos Beis HaMikdash. That's what it is, not Hilchos Beis Abchira. Well, no one refers to the Beis HaMikdash as the Beis Abchira. It's number 1. Also, time permitting, we'll talk. So we're going to chazer what we spoke about 2 years ago and add, because in this Farbrengen, the Rebbe speaks a lot more about it. Okay, number 2. Also, the beginning of Parag Gimel, Halacha Beis, the end of Halacha Beis, in Parag Gimel, Hilchos Beis Abchira, that's number 2. Number 3, the Rebbe goes on about the shape of the menorah. And number 4, in Parag Gimel, Halacha Yud Aleph, the Rebbe speaks about how there was a stone. There was a stone in front of the menorah. What was the significance of the stone? A question on that stone. Okay, let's go. So it goes as follows. So number one, why is it called Hilchos Beis Abchira? It should be called Hilchos Beis HaMikdash. And it befrat that we have the mitzvah, which is live in its Beis HaMikdash. That's the way it's referred to. Why do we have this? Why do we have this other name? So the Rebbe basically explains how what's the Beis HaMikdash, we speak about it. He says at the beginning of Parak Beis, HaMizbeach, it's about the Mizbeach specifically, but the Mizbeach is part of the Beis HaMikdash. HaMizbeach It's exact, the place where the Mizbeach is. Therefore you can't change it. Ever. You can't ever change it. And he says, what's the significance of it? Halacha Beis. The place where David and Shlomo built the Mizbeach, that was the place. Hamakim Shabana by Avram Hamizbeach, Ba'akad Olav Yitzchak. That's where Akedah happened. Ba'amakim Shabana by Noach Kishiyotam and Ateva. Ba'amizbeach Shehikriv Olav Kain V'Hevel. Uvay Hikriv Adam Radisha and Karbon Kishinivra Umusham Nivra. And then Amru Chachamim Adam Kem Kavrat Nivra. So the Rambam tells us that when we think about the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaMikdash is not something that started when David built the Beit HaMikdash. It's a place that was chosen, and that place was there. It was destined to be there forever, from the beginning of time, before creation, even before Adam Rishon for sure. And that's why all these other stuff happened in that place. Just like you have, many stuff in Yiddishkeit. There's, every mitzvah. You look at, the Rebbe gives us many examples. You have mitzvahs. They're important for whatever reason, but is that really what's the importance of the mitzvah? There's something much deeper behind it. There's the fact that it's Ritzon Shal Kadosh Baruch Hu. With the value of a yid. What's the value of a yid? He's a yid. That's what Hashem chose us. That's what's special about us. We have milas as yidin. But what's special about us? The Rebbe goes after spheres. It makes sense that we have 10 spheres. Hashem has 10 spheres throughout Seder Shalshos. But why is it 10? Because Hashem chose it to be 10. So when we think about the Beis HaMikdash, the first thing we need to know is that Hashem chose, this is the place, this is where everything's going to happen. And therefore you could think, you look in Chumash, it says, by the Akedah, by Yikra, Avram Hashem Amakim Hahu Hashem Yira, something like that. So Rashi tells us, what's Pshat Hashem Yira? Hashem Yira v'Yivchar. Hashem should choose that this place should be the place where the Karbanos are given. Manashach, was it already chosen? Was it, or is it now being? Is Avram now choosing this place to be? Was it already chosen, or is he now davening or making that this place will be the place of Karbanos? So the Rebbe explains that when you choose something, you could choose how, this is the most important. But then you could choose that this is the only importance. And that's why there's two, there was a process in this Bechira. Hashem chose it that this will be the place. The most important place. But then after that, once Kivan Shenivna Mikdash, once the Beit HaMikdash was built, once it was built and they actually started bringing Korbanos in that place, that's when the Beit HaMikdash became, that's when it actualized its Bechira, its chosenness. You saw that specialty, and from then on there was nothing else that was anything important, and therefore you weren't able to bring Korbanos anywhere else. So that's why it was based on Bechira, because it's chosen. But then you have the actual halachas, the pa'ulas, the mikdash, the kodesh, the fact that we make a kodesh, we do the avodas of the Beis HaMikdash. That's why we call it the Beis HaMikdash. But what is it in essence? What is it really? Beis HaBechira. Okay, that's point one. Point number two. So at the beginning of Perek Gimel, the Rambam starts speaking about the menorah. He says, "HaMenorah mefureshet tzurosa b'Torah." The menorah, its design is clear in the Torah, and the Rebbe also is medayik in these words. Why does he say mefureshet tzurosa b'Torah? But we're not going to go into it. But see there, and so he goes on. There were four geviyim, mistake, haftarah, mistake, brachim. Goes on and on. Until the end of Halacha Beis, he says, So let's do the whole halacha. Shalish raglayim hayula. There were 3 legs. Shalisha kafterim. Acherim hayu. V'kadei hamanera. There were 3 bulbs in the middle branch. Shemehen yoytin chased the garden. From there would be the 6 branches that came out. Shloshim mitzadzeh, 3 on this side. Shloshim mitzadzeh, and 3 on this side. V'chol kan v'kana mehen. And in every branch, shloisha geviyim, there are 3 cups, a kafter and a bulb, uperach and a flower, v'akol mishukadim, k'moy shkedim al tziyasen. So they were all mishukadim. So I wasn't sure exactly what mishukadim means, but it seems like basically the way they worked it, they hit it, because it was all made from one piece, so they hit it, like sort of with a chisel, and then like that, it wasn't. This is my understanding. I may be wrong. Come to me after to tell me. That it wasn't smooth. There were bumps, and it looked like. It looked like there were almonds on it. Not like it wasn't. It wasn't smooth, which sort of created a design. That's what the concept of mishukadim is. So, right over there, the Mefarshim say, where did the Rambam get this? That it was hakul mishukadim. They were all worked on like this to be that non-smooth way, that beautiful way of preparing the Mונטריאול. So, the Ketzer Mishnah says, he says, the Rambam wrote this from the fact that it's written in Yuma. Hey Mikrais, there are 5 psukim in the Torah that you have a word in the pasuk and you're not sure what the word of the pasuk refers to. I forgot the other examples. Maybe in a second I'll remember. We don't know what it means. But one of these is mishukadim. The pasuk mishukadim. So what's the pasuk? It says in the Mונטריאול arba gviyim. There were 4 cups mishukadim, which is embossed. That's a translation. Kaftirah u'prachel. So this word mishukadim, is that gviyim mishukadim or mishukadim kaftirah u'prachel? So because there's a suffix, which way it goes, so therefore, better do it for this and for that. Do it both, so that it's not lost. If it's meant for gviyim and you only do it on the kafterim and prachim, then so better do it for both, and then you'll cover all your bases. So the question is, the Rebbe has a very simple question. He says, well, the Mונטריאול was used in the Beis HaMikdash for 830 years. How is it possible that the Rambam, or the Gemara continues to tell the Rambam that no one knew what actually happened? Like, how was the Mונטריאול? Was the Mונטריאol like this? Was it like that? Was it embossed on the cups, or was it embossed on the bulbs and the flowers? Which one was it? How can you have a suffix in the Metzius? And the Rebbe says, especially because we learn that it's the lighting of the Mונטריאol was ksher of the zar. A non-kohen was able to light the Mונטריאol. And the Rebbe says something. I never understood this halacha personally. Like, who's going into the heichal to a Yisrael can't go into the heichal, so the whole problem doesn't exist. The whole fact that a zar could light the Mונטריאol, it's impossible. But the halacha is that you're able to prepare it and then take it out for a zar to light it. And the Rebbe says it's a doichik that throughout all the 830 years, it never happened that a Yisrael didn't light the Mונטריאol. For sure, it happened. So you have to know him. They all saw the Mונטריאol at some point in their life, and they still didn't know what happened. They should have looked. What? So the Rebbe goes on to explain, using the example of Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam, the two tefillins that we use. How is it possible to have a machlokes? Rashi and Rabbeinu, look at Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. They should have looked at their, grandfathers. Can't look at their grandpa. Look at, we're finding old tefillin. Look at the beginning of the first machlokes. The first time there was a suffix, they should have looked at the, what did Moshe Rabbeinu wear? What? How's it possible to have a machlokes and a Matthias? So the Rebbe basically says that, which is something that we all know, that it always happened that there were people did like this, people did like that. There's every machlokes, whether you do smicha, you bring Korban Pesach on Shabbos, you don't bring Korban Pesach on Shabbos. There was a question, and they forgot who was Machriya till Hillel Zaken came, and he said from Gzeir Shava, because people did both. Everything happened. They didn't know were they kaveh the halacha or were they not kaveh the halacha, and therefore they had to. There was that suffix. They didn't know because everyone did everything was done. So back to our problem about the menorah. The menorah was always being used, and it was embossed. It was mishukadim, kaftira, ufrachal, gviyim. They were all mishukadim. And the question was why? The question was why? Is it because they all need to be? Is it because it goes up? So the Rambam says that we don't know. We don't know why it was. But one thing's for sure, we need to do it like that. We need to, when we sort of make the menorah, we need to make sure that it's embossed on the whole menorah is embossed. And if you don't know why, because mahadrim b'mitzvahs, you want to make it the most beautiful way. So therefore, that you could do it like that. You could blame it on that reason. But it could be that only one of them needs to have. We'll stop here.
I want to remind everybody again, don't forget, the Rebbe, you should learn in learning, and also to give Rabbi Yosef Morozov, they spoke from the Rebbe 40 years ago, that everybody should give the amount for 2 sudas or 3 sudas. So Yosef Morozov is here, and for helping the families that need it. Tomorrow night after Maariv, they will start the Siyumi.